All right, we're going live. I need to adjust my camera here right now. All right, cool. So we'll see if anyone shows up in the next minute or two. But I want to talk about something very important tonight. And it has to do with opportunity zones. And why this is incredibly important to me is right now, what we're seeing happen is the market is making moves it never has. And one thing about opportunity zones is the whole purpose of it is whenever investors create a lot of gains for themselves, it allows investors to take that money and pay zero capital gains or defer them into the future. And the reason this is incredibly important, if you want to just take a step back with me and talk about this so we can fully grasp like why the breadth and just the level of this is so important, is because people who've just been investing over the last, 10, 40 years, 5 years, 3 years, they have a substantial amount of gains. And what often happens in opportunity zones is, and let me break down what opportunity zones are. It's basically urban areas in America where there's an underserved community, and it creates an opportunity for investors with a ton of gains to defer taxes into the future or pay no taxes at all for investing in that area. And I see this as being a problem. Like, we know the World Economic Forum is saying you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. And we know who's getting the money. We know who's going to own the future due to having control of the money. So right now, it's incredibly important for Bitcoiners to make a point to plan on how to serve their city and serve their communities. So my thesis is, because opportunity zones are currently an incredible investment opportunity for those who have invested for a very long time, they can take their money out, pay no capital gains, invest into these future cities of America, and then disenfranchise and push out these folks who live in a underserved community. And what do? You bring the money in, pay no taxes, lift it up, and prove it to get yourself a return, a deeper return after paying no taxes. So I'm all for tax incentives and leveraging the tax code and tax law to make more money. But here's the thing. Bitcoiners, they're the ones who have this conviction to get back to what is right, what is truthful, what we really believe, hard money is and what America stands for, and just a great life. So what I want to share and just break down that I think is incredibly important is that Bitcoiners make a key focus and a key point to save, stack sats, and invest into future cities. And here's the thing. It's very easy to just get excited and say, hey, I can take a loan against my Bitcoin and do whatever with it in the future. And we know that's going to require over collateralization. And if you do that, you're actually reducing the amount of power you can have immediately with this move. But here's where I think Bitcoiners can come together. And my background, I've been doing for a very long time, is it relates to marketing and just real estate investing. And in real estate investments, there's what's called a syndication, where a general partner and manager raises capital from many limited investors. And what you do is you can go take down a big deal of like 300 or 400 units in an apartment complex. And in the future, the one thing that, if you go look at the numbers, you can go read this right now, we're going to have a shortage of affordable housing and affordable apartments in America until about 2030. There's more apartments breaking down than you realize. And that's why you see a lot of people investing in apartments, trying to add value and bring them up to code and just make them better to live in for people. So if you really think about this, there's a shortage of affordable housing. And what is there available to invest in for the rich? Opportunity zones in underserved urban areas. So what I truly believe needs to happen, and I know we can do this as a community if we really put our heart and mind to it, is as we're stacking Bitcoin and we are gathering these gains in the future, if we really have this conviction that we're going to be hitting $500,000, $1 million a coin, there should be an incentive to use that for something more than just building a citadel like you see these castles on islands. I don't think that's going to be what anyone really does. What we're going to want to do is get back to our community. And I think it's going to take deep conviction and deep care of Bitcoiners working together, coming together to invest in these opportunity zones, pour back as a group, and taking over entire cities or blocks and pouring the capital into revitalizing these American cities. And why this is important is because if you're looking at the market right now, and if you go Google opportunity zones, they are all over America. There's just insane amounts of them. And the one thing that's happening right now that's incredibly important is you're seeing this exit from New York and California. And it's the first time in history where California, New York, or any state for that matter, has lost voting rights due to feet leaving, people actively moving to go to other parts of America. So whenever you think about this, people are leaving these core states where the money is. They're going to states that actually serve businesses, that serve the taxpayer, and we're moving into more rural areas. We can work remote. So we're actually going to see this breakdown of just, I guess, demand and this like kind of obsession to live like to these extremes. And what are these people going to do with money? They're going to invest because they know that that's happening as well. People are moving into more affordable areas and we can work remote. So what I think we're really going to see happen over the next 10 to 20 years is those with money who have this classic money they've made in the standard markets, which the markets are pumping right now, they're going to be reallocating that capital into real estate. Because if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, there's never going to be a shortage of need for housing, water, or land. So it's incredibly important, if you're a Bitcoiner and you have a conviction and a heart to serve others, to band together, and we need to work together to figure out ways where we can revitalize cities and not just allow them to turn into these gentrified, overpriced places to live. Like, I believe that many Bitcoiners have a heart like me where you want to serve a community and actually do the correct thing and make true affordable housing, build resources for families and parents, and build great jobs. And it's just top of mind and top of heart tonight for me to just kind of get this idea out there. And I know I'm kind of spitballing just all over the place, and I didn't want to make an edited video. I wanted to talk live from the heart because people with a ton of money, they're going to buy land, pay no taxes, take it over, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat until every fucking town is owned. World Economic Forum, you own nothing. So it's important for us to build cities that align with the vision and care and love that we have for each other in the world, and to create that opportunity for others. So as you're going through your Bitcoin journey, you're stacking, be aware that there are tax incentives that serve people who invest in real estate. Don't just buy Bitcoin and think, I'm just going to take loans out against it later and do what I want for me. Think about this. If you take a loan out from an over-collateralized loan, you have to put up, substantial amounts of capital to take a smaller loan. But if you can sell your Bitcoin and get all of it tax completely free, and multiples of us come together because we do not mind selling off 10, 20, 30% of our Bitcoin stack because we've literally got more than enough to live because we understand this game and we play it correctly. That's an incredible opportunity where a few thousand people could come together and you buy up a segment of America or these opportunity zones, and we flip everything on its head. These opportunity zones become the mecca of our country over the next 100 to 200 years. So I really hope that I've done a good job articulating this. I know I'm spitballing, but this is where my heart and head is. And I really want to have this conversation with other Bitcoiners who have, levels of influence, who understand the ins and outs of some of these things. I tagged a few folks like Jeff Booth, VJ Parker Lewis, Untapped Growth, who's doing a lot of incredible stuff, Marty Bent. But if you watch the video with Marty and Michael Saylor that happened on TFTC the other day, I was watching it tonight, and Marty makes a point where he's talking about ESG, and then Saylor was like, oh, you don't have to worry about, this. It's like blah, blah, blah. And when you really listen to him, he's saying like, there's 100 battles you could fight, but if you pour your energy into all of them, you're stripped. Like, you can't really make a move. But this ESG movement is a very strong attack against the core principles of freedom, the core principles of just everything we believe. And it just made me think, like, people right now, it's just, I don't know, it's just incredibly frustrating. Like, people right now across like the industry, they're kind of banding together to address this ESG narrative. And I think Marty has an incredible point. We need to specifically handle this conversation in a very well articulated way, because precedent will happen in Bitcoin like it does in any industry. And unless it is talked about in an intelligent way, and I think Marty was spot on, there's going to be these Trojan horses they use to try to affect Bitcoin mining. And I get Saylor's point where, miners, they're for Bitcoin. They're not going to do anything against it. But Marty has a point. ESG is like a Trojan horse into this network and into the mining business, and it's just a lot of shit that could go wrong. And I think it's important for us to band together and to build missions and the story behind Bitcoin that we want to revitalize communities. And these tax incentives will be here, they will stay here. When it comes to real estate investments, it's abundantly clear that the private market does an incredible job at doing this and running it. And I think it's an opportunity for us to band together to share the esoteric knowledge of real estate and tax incentives, which a lot of people don't understand, and making this an option for people to take part in. So if you hung around this long, I appreciate it. I know I'm kind of like just scatterbrained right now explaining all of this, but I want to articulate this and just put the feelers out there because this is a very important topic. Bitcoiners preparing to serve cities and, build and restructure the way America's run, because people are struggling right now and we are the ones smart enough to see what's coming in the future. And I think there's an incredible opportunity for us to build, 1, 2, or 3 cities and run them the way they were meant to be run, to serve our community, to serve the family, to make affordable housing, and to use technology to create a better future for our world. So I hope that this reaches someone who has conviction the way I do. And I know it's not a beautiful production, but frankly, I don't care. The idea I know is loving and serving to others. So I hope that this gets in front of the right eyes and we can talk about it and create awareness about it, because the government has marked it perfectly permissible. This is tax code from the IRS. And if we take ourselves seriously, we can literally change the world and change America and take ownership of what is ours and do the right thing for our community. So thank you for listening.